up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Drawing with Jack. Here with Robin Bousel and myself, Skip Marazzi, hosts for your evening as we hopefully draw with Jack, who was supposed to be here. This is his night to be here. Um, he's generally pretty punctual. We'll see how this goes. But never fear, because Robin Bousel and myself can hang out for a fair number of hours and fill all of it by ourselves.
Probably a few years, honestly, we could probably sit here and talk.
Yeah. And it will be interesting to us and people who enjoy our company. So that's all of you. That's all of you suckers. You don't even know it yet. You just love to hear from us. People are gonna be begging for Robin to come back on the show. That's exactly what my prediction is. I'm not a gambling man, but I would put a lot of money on the fact that people are gonna be like, "Hey, when's Robin gonna be back? Because that was the best episode." Not to hype it up too much, but we were just talking about Instant Green Room before that Robin just found out that ChatGPT isn't actually her online boyfriend. I didn't mean to like break the like shell on that because I just blindly as normal stumbled into things like that. But Robin, how you feeling? Do you feel a little
You just don't understand. You don't get like how deep our love truly goes. No, seriously.
But
ChatGPT is amazing, but it is not a human, and I'm aware.
Right.
Of that.
Right. Well, that was that's where the joke came from. It's just like, we know AI is here. It's going to be with us. You can't stop it because it exists now and everyone knows how it works. That we're just working on better and better models. So, if you don't do it, you're actually being left behind everybody else who will be doing it. It's just like when people are like, "Hey, don't use a computer because it'll make you stupid." Like, well, if you didn't, yeah, like you're kind of stuck. What was your question?
Well, I've completely forgotten. No, I was going to ask you.
What's up, buddy? There he is, Jack Haynes.
What's going on?
Jack's in the house.
Our illustrator for Cox in Space. This is Robin Bousel, a very good and very old friend of mine, who is our guest for the evening. How are you? Uh-oh.
Oh, wait a minute. You talking to me?
Yes, you. Yes, you. I'm sorry. I thought the cough was response like, brother, you have no idea.
I mean, it's true. You have no idea. But I got my COVID vaccination and my flu vaccination yesterday. So
how are you feeling?
Just slightly under the weather. Not bad, but
What number is this for you?
What number? Oh, geez. I mean, I got my vaccination at the very start of lockdown. So, or I mean, as soon as I could, not the very start of lockdown, but I mean, we were still in lockdown, and as soon as my age group could get one, I got one. So, and I've gotten something every 3 or 4 months since then. So I got to be on at least 5 or 6.
I think I had 5, and then I've had a bit of a break. I just went to the doctor today. She was like, "Do you want a COVID shot? Do you want a flu shot? Do you want a pneumonia shot? You want a tap smear?" And I'm like, "Do you want to slow your roll?" Yeah, I need to get my COVID shot too. It's been a minute.
I had a like momentary. It was like only 18 hours of like this weird throat thing. It was not even painful. It was just like irritated throat and phlegm. And I was like, you know what? Not fucking around. Getting the flu shot, getting the COVID shot. So
yeah, because that will
yes.
Both of those, well, they can kill you first of all, so you should be aware. But also, just the sickness will lay you up for a while. So,
oh my god, the COVID shot! Every time it makes me so sick, and I support it. It's just I need to literally plan 3 days to be in bed.
To be sick.
It's like day 1 I get it, and I'm like, oh, that's not a big deal. And then day 2, I am dead.
Right.
Like, it's awful. But at the same time, that means my immune system is busting its booty. Yeah. Which I am truly grateful for.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to plan 3 days to do nothing.
I feel that. Yeah, I took half a day off work because I haven't had a bad reaction for my last couple. My very first COVID shot, I was like 2 days like down, And then the first booster, I was down for maybe like a day-ish. And then after that, I've only had like maybe like a little bit of momentary, discomfort in the first half of the day. And then I'm good. So luckily I've been able to dodge all that. Like yesterday I got it and the flu at the same time. Nothing. Like I'm feeling pretty, like it's not like I'm dead,
Well, that would be unfortunate.
Yeah.
I don't know
that's
you,
better
but it would be
so Jack and I met in Chicago. Actually, not long after you left there, Robin.
After I left Chicago? I was in Chicago longer than you.
Oh, okay. I'm so sorry. That's right. I'm sorry. Yeah. So he's definitely been there in the time that you've been here. I forgot about that.
Ago.
It's been but it's been a long time ago. You're now in Tempe, Arizona. Is that right?
Oh, Tucson.
Jeez.
Closer, but still.
Yeah. Tucson. Oh, where you grew
the
up.
Further away you get from Phoenix, the better. Like if you're right in Phoenix, it's like, ugh, and then if you start to like inch out,
What's that?
you do better. But
Yeah,
it's still Arizona at the end of the day.
Yeah. I noticed that Sedona had even gotten kind of like that, like Prescott Valley and Sedona, which seemed far away from Phoenix, has now sort of been like absorbed into that whole metropolis.
It's all a mess out here now. I tell you, and I'm not blaming the whole thing on them, but there is a MAGA movement in Tucson that I think has really shifted Tucson. It's not as blue as it used to be here. It's a little more purple, and depending on where you are, it's a little more red. And
Really?
It's kind of disappointing, to be honest.
I mean, I can see that in Phoenix being that, like, it's always been about that money and, like, really conservative movement there, financially.
Right before the election, I actually almost got run off the road multiple times by big old trucks with their Trump flags, their big American flags just flying in their caravans down the street like 70 miles an hour down like 35 hours.
No way.
35 miles street. I mean, it was
Redneck is a whole level of stupid. Just
Wild West, baby.
Yeah.
You're stupid.
Yeah, that's a shame.
It's way too much.
I mean, it does seem like when you get a bunch of redneck conservatives together, they do just like to throw their wig around.
Yeah.
It's a nice way of saying it.
Yeah.
Can I watch this stream? Can I watch you draw?
Yeah. That's I'm sharing it right now.
This is Drawing with Jack, and this is the big reason that we get together.
Unfortunately, you will also have to see my. Yeah, unfortunately, you have to also see my baldy head and my twisted face. But
He's staying on.
it's fine.
This is the only show that has a face on it, so we're grateful for it. One of these days, all the shows will be upgraded to the same level than Jack is right now. Stunning audio and visual.
I mean, I'm just saying, your audience is missing out. I am incredibly adorable.
Okay.
and that's what I'm saying. Like we miss all these opportunities.
Yeah.
I'm not bald though, unfortunately. So
No, that's fortunate. No, that's fortunate. Although I tried to make light of my bald. I went bald very early in life. I went bald at 18.
Oh, you don't shave anymore, Jack?
No, I mean I do. I mean I have to shave because I have the Georgia, and it's classed as the classic horseshoe pattern.
Gotcha.
I have to shave the sides or I'll look like that guy Lobot from Empire Strikes Back.
Wow.
I there with the classic horseshoe. He went bald at like 27.
Okay.
Kept his horseshoe and like the mild comb over, just like those like 5 wispy hairs.
Yeah.
Like the appearance that there once with hair there.
I'm waiting until I'm legitimately like crusty old before I have like the wispy hairs. I'll just keep it shaved for now.
Yeah.
You want a fake comb over though.
Yeah, I know. I mean,
That's what was funny.
I had plenty of hair, but I shaved it to have that comb over.
They're like, grow a comb over. Like, we'll start by waiting 45 years and then see. Nope, not you.
No, I wanted to experience it then because I knew I was never actually going to do it. Because as soon as I saw like my high widow peak like appear and the little bit of thinning, I was like, nope, that's it. shaving the head from here on out, which has gotten me some interesting conversations in the Deep South that I didn't want to be a part of. I will also point out where they're just assuming well, since you're bald and you're white, you must agree with me, and I'm like, no, I don't. Why do I have to have this conversation in a gas station? Yeah. What?
Would you say that's the weirdest thing about moving from the Florida of the Southwest down into the actual Deep South?
Oh my God. No, I mean yeah, well, it's like Arizona, but just more so because it's more ingrained. There was never any of this waffling. It's generations and generations of that.
You're in or you don't live here.
Yeah. Yeah. I
still in New Orleans, yeah.
I am actually
not tell people that.
Yeah, well, I'm outside. No, it's a regular. Yeah, I think we've talked about it. I'm in the Deep South. I'm actually north of or west of New Orleans. In the college town of Hammond. So it's a smaller town, just like Flagstaff was. It in some ways there's some places of it that look and feel exactly like Flagstaff, which is weird. Flagstaff, by the way, for those of you guys who don't know, the Deep North, where I grew up in and met Robin at, because I went to college there. As she was running.
Yeah, when what? That's Flagstaff.
Getting
weird. On.
Getting theater degrees. I'm just gonna give the backdrop to how dumb we were as children. Well, I think you did, right? Did you end up getting a theater degree? No, I didn't either. I mean, that was
somebody, not us.
Yeah, I mean, we were just nope. I know what I want to do with this. I'm going. That was where I was at.
At the beginning of the pandemic, being unemployed because all of my jobs were theater and restaurant related.
Oh God.
At the beginning of the pandemic, I wrote a parody song to, Beauty School Dropout from Grease. You know that song, right? Beauty School Dropout, no graduation day, baby. That one. Becky Avalon appears out of nowhere and is like, go back to high school, you dumb girl. I wrote Theater School Dropout. And it was actually really funny. I'll send it to you. All about how, not finishing that Shakespeare class, my stage crew somehow did not prepare me for the job that I was applying for.
Right.
20 years of work experience I had. It was that Shakespeare credit that I never took with Bob Yao that really...
Yeah. To call out this specific professor. I went to his office as I was leaving, because he was a cool dude. I was just like, hey man, just if you could just flunk me in all my classes, I'm out. So I'm not really gonna be coming back, so just tank it, all right?
He told me that I could not be cast in the musical Cabaret because I don't look Jewish enough.
Whoa,
you are
what?
Jewish.
I am all Jewish. I'm 10% Indigenous Americas and 90% Palestine, Israel, combo. My biological mother was from Israel. My biological father's from Palestine. This is literally what Jewish people look like.
Yeah.
Me.
Wow.
Cannot be.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah. No, it's, what white America, the suburbs of white America.
Mac Groves told me that he'd never cast me because I couldn't come to my 8 a.m. theater history class because those two things equate.
Those are exactly 100% the same and important.
Fisher, aside from Adam Harper, name drop, I don't think, and Katie Dodson, I think literally we're the only three people who we went to college with who are still doing theater.
What are those two doing?
I just never hear about anyone else. He's in commercials, Adam's in commercials, Adam's in Hallmark movies.
What? Oh, he's got the face for Hallmark movies. I need to know which ones now. I'm gonna look him up. And I think I remember seeing Katie Dodson doing comedy. Yeah.
And she did some commercial. I was watching TV the other day, and it was some commercial for fabric softener or some freshener thing for the fabric. And I was like, it's been laundry. I remember when you left all of your wet laundry in my apartment bathroom. Only in the cafe.
That's why she was perfect for the role. Is because she's like, look, I have history. I know when things smell bad. Look, I'll show it to you. I can show you how fresh can be.
I know laundry.
I know laundry. College was so weird. The part of it that we went to.
Yeah, the part of it that we went to. It was shortly thereafter that I went to study comedy. What's that?
Yeah. When did you leave? I left, I think, in like February of 2003, I think.
Yeah, I think it was. I graduated in 2002 and then probably left in 2003.
Yeah.
I kind of regret that now. I really should have gotten a business degree of some sort because I realize how important business and marketing is now.
Bullshit. I didn't get a business degree and I worked international business for like a decade.
For sure.
I made more money than anyone in my family. I was traveling around the country, around the world. I went to Stockholm twice. They wanted to fly me out to India and have me train their new call center. I'm like, theater school dropout.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Traded.
100%, right? Like, and that's one of those things where I'm like, yeah, but at the same time, you know, that's not everything. That's a different type of life. So yeah, I don't regret for a second going to study comedy in Chicago. It's where I met Aaron, actually. Yeah, this is the reason that we're working on Cox and Space right now, is because I met Aaron there at that time, and we started doing a duo together, and eventually ended up doing this show before I left.
I remember Aaron.
Oh yeah, you've met him, because I believe that we have done shows together. Yeah, okay, that's cool. He'll probably be along shortly if he can make it. Sometimes
Nice.
the show himself.
Yeah, I was gonna say I remember Aaron too.
Yeah. Have you met Aaron, Jack?
I have met Aaron. I haven't seen him in a while though. He wasn't at the last. He was at the one before that though. I'm making it sound like he's never been.
It is strange how it feels that sometimes if people, there he is. What's up?
Oh my
Aaron?
God, and that was so.
We were just trying to get you to arrive by talking about you, and here you are. Aaron Castro.
Oh, nice.
So weird. We did that. We made that happen.
Yeah,
manifesting.
That was pretty nice. I'll never reintroduce you to Robin Bousel, whom you've met in Chicago, but you probably don't recognize the pink Discord symbol. So.
Hello.
Change that? I'll see if I can change that. Hi, Aaron.
What's going on?
I think we met in the Ed days.
The
Ed days.
Ed days.
Remember Ed?
Oh yeah, that's weird. So Aaron he's like oh wait, no, that's a different time. Because we did start making employees, and right after that is when Aaron and I started doing a duo. Because we were doing the duo. We were doing I'm sorry, not start making employees. Duke Disdain.
And you did Ed. We were
doing Duke Disdain at the Mark Rubin Gallery. Yeah.
Gallery.
I went and thought Duke Disdain at the gallery.
Yeah, see, because Duke Disdain was me and Steve-O. And so like it was after that you and I started doing a show, and you probably did come to see the Duke Disdain show, and that's probably where you met Robin, because I think she was trying to help us corral.
Yeah, there was like a little coffee thing.
Oh my God, it was just so crazy. That show
was such a weird time.
Sharkula threw a mug of beer at one point. Little Jeff tackled him. Sharkula. Pour one out for him. Jack, do you know if Sharkula is still around in the Chicago area?
The last time I checked, which was in 2022, I want to say he was, but I mean, let's just find out right now. I mean, that's got to have a Wikipedia page, right? Somebody's got it.
People have got to be documenting Sharkula.
Chicago.
There's a boy.
One of those podcasts where like, oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah, he's still around. Yeah, he's still around.
Get 83 up with him. Is this one of those podcasts where people are like in chat rooms somewhere talking about us?
Maybe.
They
probably not.
Not at this point. They might overanalyze this video in the chat later. We don't have a side chat that's going on or anything like that. This one is pretty low key, given the status of our show so far.
I'm still learning the ropes. I don't know the Discord as well.
It could happen here. I was in one the other day that they were running in that way where you weren't interacting with the visuals so much. You were more like members of an audience. That was fun. They were playing music. It was a live DJ session. I was like, just like catching fresh like heat as they were being made. I was like, yes, this is what's up.
And if I click on view profile and try to put a profile picture in here, is it going to log me out of the chat?
I don't think
shouldn't.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't
think so. Okay, I think I'm still here.
So, Robin, when you were working internationally, was that with the air purifier company?
Was indeed. Blue Air was the name of that company.
Nice. I didn't know if you wanted to call them out or not.
Blue Air.
Sure, I have no problem with it. I have no problem saying anything about Blue Air. And boy, could I say things. I think I put out a Unilever.
It sounds like it could be a company in Spaceballs where they're like selling.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, that's the name of the company that sells the cans of air.
Blue Air.
Are you tired of gray skies? Blue Air.
Blue Air.
Well, I'm in a can.
Now in French. Blue Air.
That was bad.
He did it. He went for it. It's the kind of fun that leaves the stink in your mouth. So thank you, Aaron, for bringing that.
All right.
So
I'm trying desperately to figure out where I can add a picture.
Gotcha.
That Aaron can see if he remembers my face. It's not the most important thing, but I'm working on that.
I think it's important to you, and I think that we should definitely have this result by the end of the episode. Like we cannot end this episode before you do a face reveal.
When you're done with that too, we can show you where the chat is for the I don't know, the group that's all chatting right now. There's like a chat that you can post images to.
Nice.
They're mainly into feet, to be honest, but
did you say they're mainly for feet?
Yeah, haven't you noticed that the chat is kind of they lean kind of heavy towards feet?
No, I haven't noticed that. Wait,
okay.
Where are the feet on the chat?
He's looking. See, I told you. The chat leans towards feet. All you have to do is mention feet, and they go looking for feet.
I'm like, people put feet in the chat. See, I shouldn't believe you. I should. I'm so.
I was just cracking wise. I wasn't even trying to like trick you. I was just like messing around.
Who am I gonna admonish for posting feet to the chat?
Feet, bro. He wanted it. He was going after it.
Yeah.
No, I wanted to know if you
feet versus meters.
I wanted to know if people were posting feet to the chat.
He's like, we only do kilometers here. Metric system, motherfuckers. Metric system.
Exactly. Freedom units.
Metric.
There she is.
I think I got it.
Surely you remember Aaron Cosbill, Robin Bousel.
I mean, I remember Aaron.
Of course.
Sure.
Aaron Cosbill is the professor of comedy. There's no one on earth, nor has there been any person in history that was like Aaron Cosbill. Which
it's always the classy bow tie that drew me in.
Yeah.
Even when I was first starting doing stand-up, I was in a tux all the time.
Oh wow! So
I remember a person with class.
Yeah. It's gonna be at the end of his career too. It's gonna be the same way. It's gonna be like a real tux that's fitted.
Yeah. I mean, I own a top hat, and I've been looking for a reason to wear one. I just don't have any tails, No.
I can tell you some tales, some tall tales.
I am tall. I do need tall tails.
I have more like average height tails. Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of that. Buckle up.
Yeah. So
I want to be in the chat. I want to troll people back who are inevitably going to troll my terrible jokes.
I only have terrible jokes, so I'm not allowed to troll other terrible joke tellers.
teach children now, and there's nothing more humbling than children telling you that you are not funny and not do not go over well.
You're like, wow, all right. Tough crowd this morning, huh?
I
like
told painter before I went and left. Fine. Like,
I only like to patrol when there's like goats that are cropping over my bridge.
that's fair.
That makes sense.
Well,
Practical.
so Rob, you said you moved a win from Chicago?
What? Why he's up there?
When did I leave Chicago?
Yeah. When did you finally leave Chicago?
Also, I'm just
I left in June of 2020. It was like a few months into the lockdown.
Gotcha. I didn't realize you were there for that much. Like, I think we've talked about it, but just again, it hit me like how long you're there for almost another decade. In Chicago. Yeah.
I was there, and I would still be there were not for the COVID.
Right. I got you. Right. Because just serving and just theater, and those are the things that have stepped out.
Yeah, I was in the running actually for an incredible job right before we left. It was down to me and this other girl, the associate marketing director of the Chicago Children's Theater, which was really cool. And I was also cultivating this whole like resident artist program in this incredible swanky little speakeasy under the old Chicago Inn by Trader Todd's. Do you guys know Room 13? You ever heard of it?
No. Where? No.
Chicago. You know where Trader Todd's is? Off like the Belmont Red Line?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you go like a little further down the street, like away from the Thousand Liquors, he's gone away from the Thousand Liquors. It's a little further down the street, is the old Chicago Inn. And just to the left of the old Chicago Inn, I'm giving away all the secrets. Just to the left is a little staircase that you probably wouldn't think anything about. But if you go down that staircase, there's a little door that you can knock on and give them the password. And enter Ring 13, which is a membership speakeasy. And it is incredible.
A membership speakeasy.
Yeah.
So was it still open during COVID then? Was it like that level of speakeasy?
I mean,
where they were defying
the
No, it shut down.
Okay, so they were compliant speakeasy.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, good for you to point out the irony, Eric. It's goddamn.
That would have been amazing. The problem with this space was that we couldn't have socially distanced in there if we wanted to.
Right.
No, the whole thing was wider than like 7 or 8 feet. It was long. It's like a long room, not very girthy, but it was long, and it had a beautiful little bar that sat like maybe 3 or 4 people, depending on how you sat there. And then there was just like a little bit of seating. It was all like 1920s era, kind of decked out, very like jazzy, swanky. There's a piano in the back, and they had on Friday nights they had this incredible piano player coming in, and then I actually asked them if I'd do a cabaret down there. And it was the first time they'd ever done anything like that, where they literally turned all of the seats down this weird galleyway towards the piano. And I had comedians, I had musicians, singers, I had burlesque dancers, and we were all just like sharing stories and singing songs. It's called the FML Cabaret. You know, FML, like.
Right, yeah.
Gotcha.
That's actually, posted about it grow.
What?
What?
I was, yeah, I'm sorry. I was making a dumb joke.
No, you're good.
And interrupted this story as it was going.
How dare you? What the hell is Flicking with Skip?
Oh, you haven't Flicking with Skip? Yes, Flicking with Skip is the show that we do on Friday nights, where I work on the animation for this show, the animation cells.
Just like lit. Oh, there you go.
And we talk about movies.
And flicks, like flicks.
Flicks, yeah, like yeah.
Sorry, I got I'm like, or I got very distracted by that. It just like folded all. Like someone's like in there, like texting something. Yeah, what were we saying? We're talking about the FML, right? FML.
Yeah. Where you're doing the cabaret, and they got to do that in a speakeasy, which is super fun.
No, that black it.
So cool. And then after I did that, well, I'll tell you about the after. So PTG, which is also my little Discord name, PTG Birdie.
Oh, gotcha. That's why that handle.
Yeah. So post-traumatic growth is actually, it's a study in, and if you know this, forgive me for explaining.
No, please go.
But it's, in modern psychology, instead of just coming or bouncing back from trauma or tragedy, which is kind of like restoring order, there is a new step, which is to grow, thrive, evolve, and become a better version of ourselves, to have grown out of the horrible experience, is post-traumatic growth. It doesn't happen automatically. There's work that must be done. But a big part in what helps people, and they're still studying this right now, a big part in what helps people actually get to that growing, thriving place versus just resilience and bouncing back is being able to hear other people's stories, how they've done it, being able to share your own story about it, and having like a community of support. It could be a spiritual community or just any kind of community. You're showing much more success when you do those things. And so Fuck My Life, FML, is actually, it's for my life. And it was a cabaret of all of us telling these stories of the things that by all rights could have or should have broken us into a million pieces. What surprising or incredible thing actually came out of that. Like a classic example that I always tell people, my father passed away when I was in college, which I think it happened either like right before or right after you left, Caleb. And
yeah,
not.
How did you tell us what kind of?
Do you remember that?
Yeah, it happened right before I left, because I remember that was kind of like at the time I just met you.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just, I do remember that. So like obviously, and your dad was a cornerstone to your life.
Oh yeah. But hey, had he not gotten sick in the first place, I never would have even gone to school in Flagstaff. I was going to go to New York. That was always my plan. But I was trying to stay close to home, since they were like, oh, any day now, your dad's going to go any day now. That became 5 years. I actually took a year off after high school and didn't go anywhere. I was trying to, be at home, help my mom, be around, and like spend that time with my dad. Because, I had made some big mistakes when I lost my brother a few years prior. And I was trying to do better, with my father. But then, when he actually died, I really lost myself for a while. But I ended up picking up my pieces and moving out to Chicago, which I never would have done if you weren't there.
That's weird.
I never would have met you had I not gone to
If you gone to NAU instead. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like you can trace those things back. It's not like I'm glad my father died.
Right.
I miss my father every day. But like, I'm so grateful for what came from that. I never would have experienced those like incredible 14 years and something horrible not happen. That's post-traumatic growth.
Gotcha. Where you take yourself from the situation that you're in and you choose, now that has happened, to do something about it, or just do something, right? Yeah.
You got to do the healing work. We can't live in our grief. We can't live in our trauma. We can learn from it. We can honor it. But trauma is not, in my opinion, trauma is not here for the help of it. Trauma is here to help us to grow. And it's up to us to recognize that and do the work. And it doesn't mean it's going to always feel good. And in fact, it will probably feel horrible while you're doing the work. But it's so worth it, in my opinion. I think we really underestimate how much our bodies respond to grief and trauma in physical ways, and how much illness is attached to that grief and trauma.
That's interesting that you say that, because I know that when I left Chicago in 2011, I think you just got a cancer diagnosis.
And I got like a pitfall, full pitch. That day.
2012 was the official diagnosis. 2008 was when I
I'm in this man big.
I had the mask for 4 years before I actually got a real diagnosis.
Wow.
Yay, healthcare in America.
Right. As it goes. Yeah.
Yeah. When I had shitty healthcare and was broke, it was, oh, it's nothing. It's fine. And then 4 years later, when I had good health insurance, it was, oh shit, girl, you got stage 2 cancer. Let's take care of that like right now.
Right.
Wow. I'm just like, wait a minute.
So, I mean, so you're saying that trauma happened to you. You believe that it possibly manifested physically in your body?
I think it either physically manifested or the trauma and the grief encouraged it to grow. One way or the other.
Gotcha.
There is an undeniable connection between the two of them. I do not feign to know exactly what it is.
Okay.
But you could not convince me that there's not a correlation.
Oh, it's body.
Sorry, I have to download. I'm missing a layer, and I need to download it from the drive.
Oh, gotcha. You
world to see my drive counties.
that makes sense, and is a good reason to cut the stream real quick. So, absolutely. No, so I didn't mean to drop that out. I was just saying that as the connection, knowing you, like just saying what I thought you were talking about. And also to point out that like you're saying like, hey, you have to do the work to get through the grief because you can't stay in trauma forever. It's not just like an empty statement that you're making, but because you have from that time done the work, right? So what did that look like? What steps did you take? What communities did you put yourselves in? That's so that people at least we're hearing you have like some ideas of things that they might try also.
Yeah, totally. It's trying to think how to make a very long and complicated story. It sounds simple and packageable that people.
Well, I mean, if you want to just work through it, I have.
Yeah,
I can ask you questions, but we have some time too. It's we have like 90 minutes or more. So like, yeah, this is your space. I feel
like. Oh, cool. Thanks. And I think I'm going to be writing a book soon, which is kind of crazy.
That's awesome.
I never would have thought that in a million years. Like Robin in her 20s, and you were like, "Hey, girl, check this out. Someday you're going to travel internationally and work for an air purification company, and then you're going to write a book about how you beat cancer with positive thinking." I would be like, "Get out of my." You're insane. What drugs are you taking?
Right.
That sounds horrendous. Get away from me.
And then she'll be like, "Oh yeah, all of these drugs," and she'll hold them up. Nice. Yeah. Yeah.
Drugs are good.
Some drugs are fun. And are good for exploiting your brain. Yeah.
And I actually think I still stand by this to this day. Caleb, I've always been a big fan of marijuana.
Yeah.
But as a medicine, it's actually
we support.
Kind of unbelievable. And the more and more that we're learning about it, although we won't be for a few more years, but the more and more that we learn about it in the last decade or so, we get you can really cater and fine tune the exact terpene profile that you need to what ails you. It's been kind of amazing, and I'm pretty sure it has been a major part of my recovery. But
nice.
Quick picture of my overall grief for people who don't know me.
Right. Yeah.
When I was 16, I told my older brother, who had taken a T-shirt out of my closet and worn it and got a little hole in the armpit. I told him that I hated him and I wished that he was dead. And the next time I saw my brother was in a body bag being taken out of our house.
That would fuck me up so hard.
Yeah.
That was therapy.
It was self-deletion, right? If I remember. I don't mean to, but just to Yeah. Right.
That really messed me up, man.
Yeah. Right. There's the where you're like, oh, did I do that? Right. How much was that? What was going? Yeah. What was I doing? What was going on with him? Yeah. That you didn't know about, right? Because obviously you didn't know.
I had no idea that he was using drugs. I had no idea that he was suffering from depression. I had no idea that he was someone who so deeply and desperately craved to be loved and did not think he was worth it. I didn't know anything about my brother until long after he died, which is crazy because I bet we would actually be pretty close these days. Yeah, it's just wild. You know, you're a kid, you're a teenager. At the time, I was like, oh my God, I just killed my brother. And then, shortly after that day, within a matter of a couple weeks, was when they told me that my father had like 6 months to live. And then after those 6 months, it was like an any day now situation, like I was talking about earlier. You know, that's why I chose for like 5 years, anytime my phone rang, I was like, that's the call. It's over.
Gee.
You know, and
so you're living from what, like 16 to 21, something thereabout, where you're thinking you're under this constant stress that your dad could be dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna give you some trauma.
State of like, I was struggling to mourn my brother because of how I felt about everything, but also because I was pre-mourning my father. Like I was in this like, it's an absolute. So I was in this like suspended state of mourning. And when he finally died, I think was actually during the production of You Can't Take It With You. I think you were on the crew for.
Oh
the show.
That's crazy how the timing works out. Is because I don't actually meet you until after he officially passes, even though we're kind of like passing each other in the hallway.
We like were passing in the halls, but I think like that show is when we started interacting.
Yeah, because it was at the cast party that we all started like hanging out.
Yeah, and we were like you were kind of like the center of your little social circle, and I was like the center of mine, and we were like, I mean, for all intents and purposes, we were performing for our friends their entry.
That's
our relationship goofing around, right? And like, remember like the stupid notes that we wrote to each other, like the line, "Do you like me?"
Right, backstage. That's right. I will say
like our friends improvement, you know. But then like we became friends, which was cool.
Right.
And we don't have long enough on this podcast to talk about that. But
how long we've been friends? Yeah, exactly. But yeah, we were very young. It was at that cast party that I ripped somebody's bong for the first time, and like basically like experienced what that was like. You know, getting kicked in the lungs. I don't think I've ever tasted a inhalation as pure as that one, just like the flavor of it. Because the memory of it, and like I can actually like taste the pininess in my brain of like, you know, that first like, because it was a bong rip. I don't remember whose it was, but it was like a large one, not girthy, like, but long.
Like, if we can reference that a third time, we'll prove our comedic genius. So it's like everyone should smoke out of a bong their first time, or if no one should. I'm on the fence because it's such an experience, and it's usually a bad one. That's why.
Jack, what do you think? Where do you weigh in on that? Should your first time be on a bong or not on a bong?
Yeah. Well, it kind of. I mean, you know, so it really depends on how you feel about weed smoking. I mean, like communal weed smoking, it's like, you know, a bong isn't really as it doesn't have the same feel as like passing around like a joint or a blunt.
Sure,
you know what I mean?
Sure.
Like,
it's less friendly, that's for sure. Less communal.
Yeah, I like a bowl is pretty similar to a bong, but again, because of how small it is, it just has this kind of like, I don't know. There's like this more of like this like intimacy passing thing. Like the bong, it seems like you're in a like the only time I've ever been smoking bongs is when I'm with like one, maybe two other people, and we're like trying to get as fucking blazed as possible.
It's a room full of theater kids. All of them were just trying to get as blazed as possible at the cast party. Yeah.
I mean, it's healthier.
Full of culture.
It's healthier for you, so it's better that way. But I mean, I think for a more social like experience, you probably is it like you sit around and you like roll up the joint or the blunt, and I don't know. There's just like so much to doing.
You also kill
like
time. Yeah, like the bong, you hit it, it's over, it's done. It's like taking a shot. I mean, you literally, that's what you say, is you take a shot from the bong, right?
It's true.
So,
romance and drug dealers.
So you're saying no, probably not, because you would lean towards a joint probably, or a bowl if it was someone's first time.
Yeah, I mean I believe in like easing people in. It is true that like hitting a bong is like definitely. I mean, unless you have some like serious dirt meat that's like mostly seeds. It's like
that's all we had in college.
Yeah. I mean that
I mean, then hitting a bong isn't going to be bad. I mean, a bong is just a little more. The bong just feels more serious to me. Like it feels
real.
more. Like
I mean,
you're.
It's a huge piece of. I mean, it can be a large piece
you make out of a Gatorade bottle,
right? Which is also goals. Hang on, but let me back up real quick because we got off track because we were talking about how we met right after your father died, and that was trauma, and then also all the weed we smoked. So there is an obvious connection there between the two of them.
Well, I mean, for a while there, the only way through trauma for me was to be stoned. I was stoned morning through night.
Right, because some pain is great, and you still have to carry on. So,
and that was it was too much for me. Having said what I said to my brother, and like not really processing that loss, watching my parents experience the loss of a child was something else altogether.
Right.
And then watching my father like slowly deteriorate from like the strongest man, the provider who took care of everybody. His mind never went, but his body sure did. And watching that happen was just awful. And then being at a school that I didn't even want to be at. I wanted to be studying musical theater in New York. I wanted to go to Broadway. And I was studying theater in Flagstaff.
Not Dynamite Flagstaff, but it's definitely not New York.
It's not. It's not even Tucson. And Tucson is terrible. And oh my God, I could say so many horrible things about the Tucson theater scene, but I won't.
But you won't.
Not today.
Not this time. But
yeah, I mean, it was like trauma on trauma on trauma, and I also was in arguably 1.5 of the most serious relationships of my life at the time, which was also strange.
Right.
And then, a saga of that again needs its own fucking podcast.
We might have to do a Spiral Off podcast at some point just talking about the saga if anyone's interested, but I don't
know. The saga.
The saga.
Like the saga.
That's all.
Doing these kids.
I have no idea. That's what I was like. I'm gonna keep that name out of my mouth right now, and we gonna roll on.
We were talking about trauma. That's a good name for trauma. But so
trauma for real.
We're layers of trauma. We're doing that show, and I'm in my any day now, right? And I believe it was like the second weekend run like that, and I was getting ready to go on stage. And there's like this big moment in the show where like everything goes crazy and explodes. Like literally like the basement starts to explode, like fireworks and craziness, and everyone runs on, and then everyone freezes in this big like tableau. And this is so crazy. I can't even fight it. But like right as I'm about to go on stage, I've got my hand on the door that I'm about to push my way through. I just felt it. Something was wrong. And I knew it, and I hesitated. I'm like, we rehearsed it like clockwork. It was never a problem. I run on stage. I'm like, oh my God, what's happening? And then my scene partner jumps into my arms, and we freeze. Never. But for some reason, this night, right before I go on stage, hand on the door, I felt something was horribly wrong. Took a beat, went on stage, caught my partner. He shifted his body weight in a way he'd never done before. And my ankle rolled, and we both went buckling to the ground.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I do. Yeah.
And so then, like, you know, everyone's like, hey, that was hilarious. Meanwhile, I'm like, did I just break my ankle? Like, what just happened? The pain was horrible. And we're like backstage in the intermission and like, you know, throwing pain aid down my throat and like wrapping my ankle in like as many ace bandages as we could. Cause then I had to open Act 3 and set this massive table by myself while my scene partner just sits there and reads the newspaper. It was the hell. We ended up like, I remember we moved the prop table like right outside the door, and like he was helping me set the table. And you know, by the curtain call after that final act, I think he was actually like helping to support my body weight, and I limped into that bow, which definitely got me a bigger applause than I should have received for that. I was playing Reba, the Black Maid. Remember that? Remember when I was black?
He couldn't cast you as Jewish, but he could cast you as black.
I can't be cast because I don't look Jewish enough, but I can be cast as a black woman. That's
and because there were no black women in the theater department. Yeah.
No, I don't think during the time that I was there, I don't think we had anyone.
Yeah, I think you're right. It was pretty white.
That was crazy. And there was even a line about it. Like there's even this line where we say like we're talking about how all the rich white people ended up going to jail and how crazy it all was. And I have this line where I say, yes, sir, I'm glad I'm colored, as if that's an okay line to say. And then my very, very white partner goes, me too. I wanted us to cut it and make it like, yes, sir, I'm glad I'm poor instead of black. And I was like, why don't we just keep the line? Like, it'll get a joke. It's funny because he's so white and I'm like trying to like pass off in the middle. Like, let's just keep it. He was like, no, no, no. And I remember I actually did say it one night. And the audience like get quiet for a second and then they died laughing.
It's like,
we needed 1,000 ambulances because everyone was dead. And he came with his breath in your mouth. You can keep it. I was like, oh, so excited. Crazy shit we do. But anyway, so break my ankle practically. I didn't break it. I really, really significantly sprained it. Luckily, it was not a break. And this was still early cell phones, like 2002, early cell phones for us. I was staying with Will and Nick and Steve because they were all in the show. And I was just going to like crash on their couch and they were going to like hang out with them for a bit. And then they were going to help me out while I couldn't walk for a few days. And then we were going to, you know, go do the show together, whatever. And I remember my charger, I didn't have a charger. My phone died. I remember Abby comes over and is like screaming out like at us from the parking lot, even like, and we're on the balcony, like, what's going on? And he's like, your mom is calling me. Like, your mom's trying to get a hold of you. And I was like, oh shit. And so I called my mom and she told me that that was the night that my dad had gone into hospice.
oh,
Like he was like, I'm ready. Let's go. Because at that point he was just sticking around for us. And at that point he kind of decided it was time to go. And there I was with my very sprained right ankle in Flagstaff, a 4-hour drive from Tucson. And I'm pretty sure all of them had to like hold me down. Because I was like, I'm going. I'm getting in my car and I'm going. And they're like, how are you going to drive down out of the mountains with a sprained ankle? And I was like, I have another foot. I'm going. Like, you're not going to stop me. And my mother told me, and your father doesn't want you kids to see him like this. And he'd called me a couple days prior to that. We had talked on the phone and I had no idea that was our last conversation. But to this day, I do remember the advice that he gave me, which has been a magical through line in my entire life since. He said to me, do not ever be afraid to get creative, to get from A to B. No, it seems so simple, but it has really been an impactful life lesson for me. It's the reason I was able to be with my mother before she died, which is also magical and crazy. Spoiler, my mom died too. Right?
right. Oh my God! Right?
Trauma. Hold on.
Just speaking of trauma and having to work through it. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, right. So, here I am with this information. My mother's like, he doesn't want you kids to see him like this. He said his goodbye, stay with your friends. And I remember very little detail after that, but I do remember just completely sinking into depression in a way that I don't know that I could really verbalize. Like it was tough.
That's the thing about depression is that it's not a place of logic or words at all. It's kind of like where everything stops. Right? Like as if you're in amber, like a single frame, like of time. Yeah.
Yeah, but like buried like deep in the earth at the bottom, like of a deep dark well encased in amber.
Present, but far, far away. Yeah, exactly. In case of those of you who are lucky enough to not experience it or are experiencing weird feelings you can't describe, you're like, that's what I feel. Yeah, that's depression. When you feel that's depression.
That's depression. Congratulations, you made it.
Well, knowing is half the battle sometimes. If you're like, why does it feel so weird? Oh yeah, you're hella depressed.
Yeah. Being able to identify that is so helpful. And taking the shame off of it.
Right.
The stigma that comes with mental health and depression is like probably one of the biggest problems that we have with the mental health issues in this country is that we still look at it in a way that it is like bad or shameful. And people are like, oh, I don't want to be in therapy. I don't need therapy. I'm telling you, I don't care who you are. I don't care how great or not great your life has been. You need therapy.
Yeah, like all people need someone to talk to.
Do it.
That's the long and the short about therapy is just talk to somebody else. just double check you're not a jackass. I mean, it's something
who's unbiased. Yeah, somebody who can do like we were just talking about. Somebody who can help you go, oh yeah, that thing you're feeling, it's this.
Right.
Here's how we can help you. Instead of whirling around alone in the darkness or, being stuck in your amber, unable to move. These are tools that can be given to you to help you realize that this is actually a very common thing, which is awful.
Right.
It's true. There's resources. Let's use them and let's help each other use them. And let's not make each other feel like shit about it.
That's right.
Yeah.
This is one of those things that
soapbox number one.
Yeah, one, right. Like I want to help take away the stigma of it. That or people who are like, is there actually hope to do it? You're like, yeah, made it through. Continued working on it.
And I still work on it. I would say that this year I have grown exponentially in my healing, but I'm still working on it. It's a daily thing. But okay, so let's go back a little bit again.
All right.
Now where my dad's gone, I am melting away. I believe it was November 26th. My father died. So November of 2022 or 2002, sorry. And then it was 2003 in February when I left school. So like, it was only a few months after that I was like, I can't, what am I doing? Why am I in school? I'm flunking out. I think I literally got a D in quantitative reasoning because I told my teacher my dad died and I just didn't give a shit about math.
He was like, yeah, maybe not a failing grade. Maybe you don't need that.
Like, here's an F plus. Get out of F. Which was like the third time trying to take that stupid class. I hate math. I'm just not a math person. Respect to people who can do and like math. It's just not for me.
It takes a different type of brain for sure, or a particular type of brain.
Takes a different brain than I have. Falling apart. I left school. I went to Virginia for a little while. Remember when I went to Virginia?
I do. I was trying to remember where that fit in because I was like, I think I was flying back from Chicago to meet my hang out with my parents, and that's when I would talk to you also. Yeah, your mom was out there?
Where my birth mother, my biological mother, because I was adopted, I grew up with a different family. But my biological mother lived in Virginia. Biological mother, whom I met and connected with very briefly before my father died, which is interesting because then I actually met my biological father right after my mother died.
What?
So that's magic and weird, right?
Right, yeah. I remember your biological mom, of course, looking just like you.
Oh my God, yeah, we look a lot alike. It's crazy, especially in the hair, the boobs, and the butt.
Right.
It's all pretty identical. Although I feel like my curls are a little more relaxed or they're a little tighter, I think, than mine are. But yeah, I went out to stay with her because I was like, I just need to get away. I need to escape. I was trying to run away from my grief. And I got there and it was terrible.
There with you.
My grandmother, yeah, and we spent a lot of time on the phone back then. When we like literally had to like be on the phone with our phones like plugged into the wall because they just couldn't hold the charge for long enough for our conversation.
Well, that was also phones at that time.
4 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
those phones.
Their little Nokias plugged into the wall.
It's a cordless phone, but not really.
Not for
not for long enough.
Not really. That was crazy. To this day I don't actually know how long I was in Virginia. I refer to that time as the Dark Ages. And I've only been through one other time that was almost as good. Yeah, the Dark Ages were pretty dark. My biological mother's husband, whom I despise, attempted to force himself upon me, which really messed up. Did not succeed, but I remember my birth mother kind of explaining it away in that, men, you're in your bedroom and you're in your nightgown and, you're in bed and, men have urges and he's gonna, do his work with God. And I remember being like,
what? You're like, I need
serious right now?
I need
like I'm staying in your house, like in the guest room you set up for me, and he came into the room to set up some stereo for me so I could have a stereo in the room. I didn't invite him in, nor did I invite him into the bed, nor was I flirting with him in any way, shape, or form. But when he like sat down on the bed and then like started to try and kiss me, and I like pushed him off of me and went running out of the fucking house. That is because of me.
Nope. Right.
And because of male urges.
Right.
And I love the woman and I appreciate very much so that she gave me away because it was the right thing to do. Again, really? Trauma, abandonment trauma being given away, but it was literally the best thing that it could ever have fucking happened to me at that time. So I was, trauma on trauma out there and falling apart, and my mom's freaking out. My mom's still back in Arizona. Now she's like, great, my depressed, suicidal daughter is now out across the country where she's being attacked by people that I don't fucking know. She ended up actually selling her house. My father had actually stuck around for a few extra years in pain to make sure she had more money. And so she used that money to buy herself a house and then sold that house and used that money to follow me across to Virginia to try and keep me from killing myself, which was partially successful. Quick nod of, I think, credit also goes to Caleb on this one. I don't know if you remember when you asked me, what is it that you asked me? It wasn't that you asked me. It was that you said, you called me when I was doing something really, trigger warning, you called me when I was doing something very dangerous and was about to take a very drastic action. And you and I were very connected at that time, like emotionally and spiritually. And you just knew something was up. And in that conversation that we had after I stopped crying for like 4 straight hours and just literally sat there with me on the phone, you said something to me about like, you know, I would really miss you if you weren't here. But like, the choice is yours, whether you want to live or fight. I think I'm paraphrasing you, but it was something in that I
mean, that's a hell of a good quote. So, I mean, I'd totally take credit for whether or not.
Yeah.
It's more like the lore than the facts. I'm about the lore. Whatever.
The words were exact or not. The gist of what you said to me was that.
Yeah, for real.
And I decided I wanted to fight. And so my mom was like, "Oh, Virginia." And I was like, "Ditto." And so she moved back out to Bullhead City, which was ridiculous, but she moved out to Bullhead City, Arizona. And I came back to Tucson. And it was one of those, like, I found a listing for a house that like hadn't even gone live yet. Like he had just made the posting and was like out to put it up. And he's like, "I don't even know how you saw this listing." I called him and we, within like an hour, had a deal. And I moved back to Tucson, out into the barrio in Tucson, where I lived in this really weird triplex. And then a crack whore moved in next door, which was really interesting. That was fun. And I, started working for him. That's where I got my start in the professional business world. I was working for that man, which was weird. He was my landlord and my boss. And at one point, he wanted me to like run a phone sex line, which was kind of strange.
Okay.
There was nothing about this man that was like sexually interested in engaging with me in any way, shape, or form. But I had a really good phone voice. And I was making lots of phone calls around the country to these truckers who wanted to talk about their big boy toys and their big trucks, how powerful and manly they were. And he was like, "You need to run a sex line. I'll set it all up. I'll pay for everything. You will make so much money." And I was like,
God.
I'm not going to do that.
No shame on sex work. But that wasn't what you were down for. I'm going to take a quick break. Sorry, Robin. I'm going to jump in real quick and just give a shout out at the top of the hour that this is a Cocktail Space podcast. This is behind the scenes with Drawing with Jack, where we hang out, watch Jack draw. If you want to catch up with us, you can go to cocktailspace.com and you can follow us on the Discord, connect with our Patreon, go to our Facebook, talk to Aaron Coswell, who's in charge of Facebook, talk about the interesting things that goes on in your life. You can be a guest on the show just like Robin is here tonight. Robin, while we take this break, do you have any socials you want to shout out so people can follow you?
I'm so
What did you just say?
Oh, I'm sorry, Robin. Did you want to give any socials that you want to call out so people can follow you?
Oh God. I mean, I'm not really active on social media, but you can, if you want to find me out there, feel free. I think all of my social is just Robin Bousel. Like there's only one me. So except for Discord, which is PTG Birdie.
Gotcha. So connect on Discord, PTG Birdie, but Robin Bousel and all other places. So you guys, you can connect with those. And we're gonna get back to the show with Robin here, Jack Haynes and Aaron Coswell. So is this the turning point in your life where you come out of the dark ages and you start to do the work towards the life that you want?
Yes and no. I would say it was definitely a significant turning point. I wasn't really doing the work yet. I was still kind of walking the path. I didn't realize how much work had to be done. And I wasn't really in a place where I actually really felt like I was worth the amount of work that had to be done.
That's
I was still figuring that out too.
And that makes sense too. Like when you're in a place where you feel nothing but like shame about yourself and despair for your situation, the heart of depression, right? It's hard for you to think you're worthwhile enough to even fix the problem.
It is a lot of work.
Right. Well, it is.
People
You
that
have
are
to believe that it's possible.
Right? You have to believe it's possible. And even if you don't believe it's possible, you have to start doing the work until you do.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
I say this to my partner a lot. It's like, a lot of times he gets stuck in a place where he's like, well, I just don't want to do this thing until things feel better. And it's like, but babe, they're not gonna feel better until you start doing the thing. That's what's like really frustrating about it. It's like, well, I really wish I had a lot of energy and like felt good and like go through all of this stuff and do my shadow work and like do my therapy and do the things that are good for my body and good for my mind. Like that would be great if I had the energy for that, but I don't. So when I do, then I guess I'll start. But like, how are you gonna get there if you don't do the work?
Right. Yeah.
So it's one of those like really frustrating things. But yeah, Chicago was a wild ride. And there were so many weird things and stories that we could tell about Chicago that probably will end up in my book at some day. There was a lot of floundering, I moved there during the recession in 2008, which was crazy. Like, let me just take $1,800 and a truck of my worldly possessions and follow a friend from college out to a major city that I've never lived in.
I mean, it worked out.
That's a smart idea.
It worked out when I did it. So the following part, I was the person, but that road trip was fun for sure. Crazy.
Oh my God. Yeah. That was wild. Remember that fireworks show in like Lincoln, Nebraska? We just like randomly pulled over to get gas and I was like exhausted and wanted to die from driving. And then all of a sudden there's like some like fireworks facility that was nearby and they were like testing fireworks.
Yeah, exactly. Which a big ass display in the middle of nowhere. Kind of like at dusk or something.
Yeah. Here's some bright lights for you. Get your asses to that big city.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I think you actually drove us into the city because I was like, I don't know what I'm doing or where I'm going. I need you to drive us there.
If I remember right, I was working on a box truck at that time, which I think I was driving that truck. Anyway, yeah, it's fun. As you got more used to it, it's not that difficult. You just have to be really aware.
Yeah. I've driven so many trucks now. Like, like thousands of times. Crazy. Yeah, so Chicago was wild. Had some good times, some bad times, some absolutely insane times. And I think I hit this like high point. Like I started to really get shit figured out. Like I was working at Blue Air, I was doing theater. Like it was when I was doing Tony and Tina's wedding. Shout out Tony and Tina.
Oh, you did that?
That's cool. I did it for almost 2 full years.
That is fun. Yeah.
Yeah. It was over at Chicago Theater Works in the like right down the street from IO.
Yeah.
But it was that's where we performed. But it was actually like the professional production company that did it in New York and in Vegas and in Chicago. And they were doing like a revival of it essentially. Which was really cool. Such a weird and wonderful experience doing that show. And I met so many cool people. I actually made more money doing Tony and Tina's wedding than like any theatrical thing I've ever done.
This wild, right?
Yeah.
Still
nuts. And I got free dinner because we ate. It was like it's a wedding. And like the audience comes and watches a wedding at a church, and then we like all go over to the reception together and we like improvise this 2.5 hour wedding reception.
Yeah.
Where the 70 to 250 people that are there, depending on the night. There's no script. It's all just like beats.
Yeah.
You have to hit.
The work of doing comedy live in front of an audience is fun, but my favorite times has always been in an audience, like where there's an event going on and we're the entertainment of what's happening, and they kind of know that we are, but at the same time they're treating us as real people. That because you can go like crazy, like you can do whatever you want to as this character, So
Mhm.
so fun. Yeah. So I'm just 2 years. You got to do that for 2 years.
Oh, it's so fun though. There's 26 characters, and I think any given night we had usually 22 to 24 of them. I don't know that we ever actually had all of the characters. There's like a couple random like uncles or something that we just didn't really need. Um, but we had like a rotating crew of like 45 people. And
Wow.
so I was one of the main people. I played Donna Marsala. She was the sexy bridesmaid, who her hair entered the room before she did. It's like it's 80s themed. It's tributed to the 80s because the original production was done in the 80s. So like the running gag with the show is that like Tina's mom wanted to do like an 80s theme for the wedding. So like big, insane hair and big, poofy, ridiculous red dresses and like Madonna fishnet, like armbands and stuff and leg warmers. Like it was ridiculous. Did a dance to Paula Abdul's Cold Hearted Snake. Like it was just so wild. But it was really like a wedding and a reception every night. And there's like a big dinner buffet. And so like, we would have these beats where the audience would all be like focused towards the main thing at the same time. That was like 20% of the show. Rest of the time, it's just there's something happening in every corner of the room. And like wherever you are, you see different stuff. And like the characters all tried to engage like all over the room and get like different places and do different beats of our storylines in different places. But depending on who was in that night, I like my character had a boyfriend that she was like making out with or fighting with all night long. Whenever you saw our characters together, we were either screaming at each other or making out in the corner. Or like there's a bit where I come out from under a table that he's been sitting at where like I clearly have been like blowing him under the table. But they call me out to like come sing with the wedding singer and I just like pop up out of the
Come
table.
out from under the
Always got a
table.
good laugh.
That's a good bit.
Yeah. Like my hair kind of like all askew and I'd be like, what? My big moment. And then like I would sing this incredible song with the wedding singer, which was really fun. We did I'm in My Life from Dirty Dancing. I'm a large and voluptuous woman, for those of you who are wondering. But the wedding singer was this tall, string bean, skinny guy. And at the end of Dirty Dancing, they do the bit where like, she runs to him and he like lifts her up in the air. And it's like their big triumphant moment. So like we're singing the song and we like clear the dance floor and I'm up on the stage and he's out on the floor and he like puts his arms out to me and I like flail mine out, start running towards him. And the audience is like losing their freaking minds like to see this happen. And then all of a sudden he jumps into my arms and I like lift
You
him up.
raise him into the air.
It was my one major gag that I got into the show that the director was like, we've never done this before. It's hilarious. I'm telling everybody that was yours.
That's a fun
It just works so beautifully. And then people are always like, oh, were you guys lip syncing to the album? And I'm like, bitch, I just worked so hard to sing that for you. No, I was not lip syncing to an album. Whatever. I'm a singer. I'm a song juice. Yeah, that show was so much fun. So like, I'm working at Blue Air. I'm making more money than I've ever made in my life. And I've got my Tony and Tina's gig every weekend, which is like a solid theater gig, hosting people's cabarets. I'm showing up randomly at IO to jump into somebody's weird college improv thing as a special guest. I'm all over the place having a grand old time living my life, cultivating my cabaret down at the room 13. Right. And then I'm on my way to a convention for a different air purification company that I was working for. And I'm kind of skipping over a lot of the cancer stuff, but like my mother was still out here in Tucson. She'd finally moved back to Tucson from Bullhead City. And I got a phone call from an Arizona number that I normally wouldn't answer, but I was like, Arizona number. But like my Uber like just got there. I need to grab my suitcase and get into this Uber and get to the airport and head to this trade show. But this Arizona phone number is haunting me. I answer it, and it's a surgeon who's taking my mother in for emergency surgery. And I'm like,
what? Wow.
What? Oh, where? What? I just talked to her. Like I was at this point in my life, I talked to her every day or every couple days without fail. I spoke to her a few days ago and she wasn't feeling that great. was just like a little bit down, but she sounded fine overall. And there was a couple weeks prior to that where I almost came out to visit because I had a 4-day weekend, and she was like, "No, I'm tired, and like, I had my knee surgery, and I was still kind of like recovering, and we won't be able to do anything." I'm like, "I don't care, Mom. I'll sit on the couch and like play some gin rummy, and like you can cheat, and we'll have a good time." And she was like, "Oh, I don't hate rummy." Sorry, Mom, you cheated. Change the rules all the time. Like mid-game, she'd change the rules to her advantage. Did you ever get to play gin rummy with my mom?
No, I did not. I think I only get to have Easter on 420 with you.
That 420 Easter.
We're we are more baked than the ham. That's what I mean. That's the only.
Oh my God!
Thing I can say.
And we kept going.
And
My mother living in Flagstaff. She moved up on her way to Bullhead City, right? And so she was in the same apartment complex that I was in, but like in a different apartment. And she made this little dinner, like little Easter dinner for me and my friend Josh. And she knew Josh. Josh is also from Tucson. And I show up with Josh and Caleb and Abby and
Steve. Oh, geez. That's
and
right.
We had all been up the whole night before.
The whole night. Yeah.
Smoking and drinking. Like the whole night.
Well, because we had something that happened. Yeah.
It was a party. It was a 420 party.
That's right. Yeah. Right. And we decided we were going to hit the second 420.
Yeah.
So
and
we
then
did.
We hit the third.
And then that's right. Yeah. Because your mom was like,
that was crazy.
You guys ready for breakfast or something like that? And it was like,
she made us this little, she made us appetizers before dinner, and she was panicking because she was like, "Oh, I only made enough food for the 3 of us." But if you recall, or maybe we were just that high, the woman made us a feast.
There was so much. Yeah, there was
leftover fruit salad for a week. Right? And we're like, "Wait, there's more food?" Like, she just kept bringing us more. And we'd be like, "Okay, cool. We'll be back in a minute." And then we went to my apartment to smoke more and drink more and then come back and eat more food. She had like an Easter egg hunt set up.
That's right. Yeah.
And, Abby kept trying to stake all my money, because she put like coins and eggs for me. And Abby was like, "These are mine." And my mom was like, "Give them to my daughter." So crazy. We were just like giggling and laughing and having like the grandest of times. And she was laughing. She didn't know that we were intoxicated.
I'm sure.
She just thought we're having fun.
We were having
I don't know, man.
Yeah. I did get to spend some time with your mom.
Yeah.
So what was she going to surgery for?
So she had vasculitis, and one of her doctors put her on this experimental chemo drug for her vasculitis, which is like a vascular restriction type disease. And I told her not to take that shit. I told her, kind of CBD for inflammation, look at all these other things. There are so many non-psychotropic things, holistic things we can do for your body. She takes this medication and strict her immune system completely. The story that I have been told, because to this day, I don't actually fully really know what happened. What they suspect is while she was having this vasculitis issue and her immune system was stripped, her legs were doing this thing called weeping, where there was so much pressure that fluid was kind of leaking out of the skin.
Oh no.
And it put her in a really highly susceptible place for infection. And just any normal bacteria that we come into contact with 1,000 times a day that our bodies fight off.
All the time.
Probably got her. Right. And it started to turn some of the tissue in her leg necrotic. And she went septic.
Oh.
And her friend, I don't know if my mom called her or she came over because she hadn't seen my mom. She'd been secluding for a few weeks, which again, I would have seen it had I gone there a couple weeks earlier. Her friend comes over and basically breaks the door down and takes one look at my mom and is like, "Jane, you're going to lose your leg. We got to take you to the hospital." And so they call 911, they get her to the hospital. And I guess they had her there overnight. This was Friday, and it was a Saturday when I got the phone call. And He said, we're wheeling her in for emergency surgery. She's septic. We've got to get control of the infection. And I was like, I'm on my way to the airport. Do I need to like redirect a plane? Like, how serious? What are we talking about? And he was like, it's he's serious. I will know more in an hour when I get out of surgery, and I will call you and let you know. And I was like, okay. So like I get into my Uber. That poor Uber driver, I'm just like blubbering in tears.
Right.
Okay? I've got into
holy crap.
complete like panic mode, but I'm also in get shit done mode. So I'm like texting my boss, and I'm like, this crazy shit's going on with my mom. I have to go to Tucson. It is an emergency. He's like, absolutely, of course, I understand. Like, let me know what you need to do. And I have all of our materials for this event. So like he's just meeting me in Toronto, and I've got like all our shit. And so I'm on my way to the airport, and I'm trying to figure out what to do. I'm looking up flights to Tucson and everything. Like same day flights to Tucson from Chicago were like $800. It was insane. I didn't have that money at the time. I had some money, not that much. The whole ride to the airport, I'm trying to figure it out. I get checked in. I go through security, still trying to figure it out. I sit down at this wine bar at O'Hare. And there are bottles of wine at this bar as far as the eye can see. Only wine. Nothing but wine. Every shape, size, color of wine you can imagine. And there's a player piano off to the left. And it's playing some weird, like jazzy, like player piano, annoying fucking music. And I'm sitting there at the bar, and all of a sudden, this woman sits down next to me and puts a Heineken on the bar, which was my father's beer.
Huh.
And I'm like, where the hell did this Heineken come from? This is a wine bar. I don't even see beer anywhere that you could order.
Right.
And then the player piano starts to play Music of the Night from Phantom.
Oh, well.
Which is a song that, first of all, it's not like a jazzy, like, like that's the kind of music it was playing.
Right.
And then all of a sudden it starts playing this song. And that specific song is a song that both my mother and I knew how to play on the piano, that we would play on the piano when my father was bedridden at home. And we would, I'd get there and start playing like Matchmaker from Fiddler, and it was like the most annoying music ever. And my dad would be like, okay. And then like he would play Colors of My Life by Barnum, or Music of the Night, one that my mom and I both played. And you can hear my dad like applauding from down the end of the hallway. So all of a sudden this song starts playing, and I'm like, this is my father's song and my father's beer. What is my father trying to tell me?
Right. That is weird. Yeah, for sure.
You know what my dad was trying to tell me?
I do not.
Don't be afraid to get creative to get from A to B.
Right. It's the same thing. Don't be afraid to get creative.
So I go, right? So I go, okay. It's into Tucson are ridiculous. What about Phoenix? And I get into Phoenix and get a car. Right at this time was exactly when United Airlines and American Airlines started doing their like no carry-on fees, where you could like fly for $80. Like no carry-on, same day, $80. I think the actual ticket was like $76.
What?
From Chicago to Phoenix, an hour from that exact moment in time. I was like, well, I'm getting on that flight and I will rent a car and I will get down there. No problem.
Nice.
Easy peasy. Oh, before that happened, oh my God, I left out the craziest part. I'm like, oh, I could go to Toronto and fly from Toronto to Tucson tomorrow morning. Or, there's got to be some other way I could do that. And then all of a sudden they ordered a ground stop for all flights in and out of Toronto because of a storm. A winter storm in April in Toronto shut the airport down.
Like,
right.
well,
And that's when when the player piano. So that's when the player piano starts and the Heineken's there. And I start looking at like, how can I get creative? Found that flight, booked it. As soon as I hung up the phone, it rang. Or like as soon as I pressed like go on the purchase of the ticket, the phone rang. It's the surgeon calling me back. He was like, I got your mother through surgery. She's stable, but she is in critical condition. And I was like, I will be on a flight in an hour. I'm on my way. He's like, I won't be here tonight. I will see you in the morning and I'll fill you in and we'll go from there. I was like, okay, great. Meanwhile, here's me in the airport, like, what do I do now? I've got a carry-on, which I'm not supposed to have, full of all these trade show materials that I'm not going to get to my boss in Toronto. I tell him that I'm not coming. He's like, it's fine. We'll figure it out. And then I race down the terminal to the other gate, which is in the same terminal, thank goodness, and is boarding for the flight, like right then and there. So I was like, I'm racing down. I get to the gate, and I'm like, I had this other ticket. I was gonna go here, but my mom is dying, and I have to get it too fast. But I have to carry on. And she's just like typing on her computer. And she just slides a boarding pass across the thing, and it's like, get on the plane. I'm like, put my carry on, and she's like, honey, get on the plane. I was like, okay.
Nice.
So I take my bag, I get on the plane, and I'm crying the whole 4 hours. Which I feel terrible for the people sitting next to me, and I'm like, I'm sorry, like, please ignore me. I'm so sorry. This is awkward for you. Normally I sleep for flights. I couldn't.
You're right.
I get to Phoenix. I rent the car. From the time I got that phone call from the surgeon to the time I walked into the ICU to face my worst nightmare was like 10 hours flat.
Wow.
Like I couldn't have fire drilled that better.
Like, wow.
You know? That's talk about magic in the universe.
Right. That's a lot of things aligning. That's a typical thing to kind of make happen.
Right? Like it sounds made up. Like that's how magical it is. It sounds like it's not real. And I am fully aware of that. I hadn't lived it, I would be like,
right, yeah.
Really though?
was it really that magical? But I was laughing because I was like, of course, I hadn't heard this story, but I was like, those are the very type of situations that you generally seem to find yourself in. And working its way out. I think that you were leading up with that story about your mom as to everything was going well for you in Chicago, and then you got this call, and is that what shifted everything? I'm going to speculate here, and only for sake of time, but you had been able to successfully outrun your grief enough, but your mom dying is the thing that kind of triggered that you actually needed to recover from it. Is that what the thought was? Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, so did your mom die on this trip?
I am so sorry.
She did, unfortunately. What?
I jumped ahead of that. I'm sorry.
No, you're totally good.
But so that was when she finally passed. Is on that trip back to Tucson, I think.
Yeah. Why I made it. Yeah, I made it in time. She was unconscious. She was like in a medical coma, and it's a very long story, all of the details, so I will not go into all of them. It was a very difficult battle that I thought she was actually going to recover from. She was doing really well. I got her to rehab. Things were going well. I came back to Chicago, and within like another week or so, I got another call. He was back in the ACU. That like her non-responsive, her blood pressure dropped or something. And so I'm back on the phone talking to the night nurses, like, what's really going on here? And they're like, Abe, if this was my mom, I was like, enough said. I found another like $80 fare. I think this one was like 83. And, got out there. I was there the next morning, and she was very confused. She was in and out of lucidity. Her whole body had gone toxic. Like they thought they got it, and they mostly got the infection, but like her body had been through so much that her kidneys were now shutting down, and it was going to be so much work to save her for a very low quality of life, most likely. And she just did not want to do it. I told her I would move home. I was like, oh, your sister will come, Stuart will come, my brother. We're all going to be in your corner. We're all going to help you out. Like, we'll get you through it. And she just didn't want to live like that. And as much as it like broke my heart, I understood. Right. That I had to make sure that I had lucid conversation with her, that she knew what she was deciding to do. Because again, she was in and out of lucidity. There were moments where she didn't know who I was, and that was horrendous. But I made her repeat to me and to her main care doctor what decision she was making, and that she understood what that meant for her. And then it was like race, race, race to get her home. Got her home because she wanted to die at home, not in the hospital. I was able to set up like really peaceful environment for her in her room. My brother chose not to come back out. He'd come out when she was in the hospital, but he chose not to be there for this. He just couldn't handle it. I had big pictures of him around everywhere. At one point, she was literally talking to his picture as if it was him, like saying goodbye, which was heartbreaking. I called everybody. Like, we called all her family and, like, you know, helped her say goodbye to everybody. So I literally got to sit there and like listen to my mother say goodbye to everybody in her life, which was also horrendous.
Right.
And then we had this like last lucid morning together where I just watched her go through her end of life process, watched her revisiting her own life, watched her, you know, screaming out in agony, wanting her own father. I watched her show up at a party that they were throwing for her on the other side with red balloons and ice cream. Now, I'm going to tell you guys something that is going to be much more magical to Caleb than the rest of you.
Okay.
But my mother, remember when I used to personify my id, my ego, and my super ego, and there were like these 3 different versions of me that I would interact with and talk to.
Yeah.
Nobody else knew about that. No one. You and me were the only people, and now everyone who's listening, we were the only people who ever knew that that existed.
Right. Okay.
And my mother says to me, she's like, at this party, she's seeing all these balloons and all these people and everybody that's gone, and they're all so happy and it's great. And then she starts talking about this lake, this duck that lands in this lake. And I'm like, you see a duck in a lake? She's like, yeah. And I see the 3 robins. And I went,
whoa. What?
You see 3 robins, like 3 birds? And she's like, no, I see the 3 robins. And she's looking at me, and I'm like, did I write that in a diary that you read? Like, what the fuck? Like, I didn't even know this.
What?
I never even put it in a diary.
Right. That's
How do you have knowledge like that?
right. That's wild. I don't know how to put my finger on or define that's maybe you shared it with her, you know, and don't remember it in the state of depression. Oh,
never. I never talked to my mom about my depression. I shut her out.
Fair.
I shut everybody out except for you, honestly. You know, until I started really getting into therapy and like working it out with the therapist. But yeah, I mean, all of this to say, I truly watched my mother be in this world and out of it at the same time. Bless you, sir. And no, don't you dare be sorry. Our last moments of conversation, she was watching my dad fly around above her, and she was describing the color blue that his energy was. And he said it was like this brilliant blue, like so blue that it just shined. And she was like, I really want to fly with him. And I was like, go ahead, Mom. Like, go fly with Dad. I said hi, give him a hug for me. And I remember she just looked at me lucidly and told me all the things you want to hear a mother say before she dies. Unfortunately, like 40 years earlier than I ever wanted to hear it. But I heard it, and it was really magical. And the last thing she said to me was, see you later, alligator. Mama, you're so weird. I love you.
Right.
But that was so her. It was so her. And then her body was just in automatic processes for like another day and a half before she passed. But like when she actually left her body, I physically felt it and saw it happen. And it went out of her body into the whole room me. Like I was encompassed in this energy, this mist, this warmth. And it just lifted out of the room and was gone. And that night, I'll send you pictures of this. That night, the sky turned perfectly pink, which was her energy, and brilliant blue, which was my father's.
Right.
And it was just like these beautiful pink cotton candy flowers on this blue background. It was amazing. That was the moment for me that I knew without a shadow of a doubt that there was something else. that there was something bigger
Huh.
and that there was more to this experience than just being here to suffer together.
So again,
And
right,
it
the
really,
experience of life. Sorry, yeah,
yeah, it
there's
really
more to
set me
living.
down a track.
Yeah, okay, interesting.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
Interesting. I knew this was going to be too long for this episode. We've got like 20 minutes left in this episode. Um, and so I know that the story is so much bigger than that of everything that's happened. Do you want to, in these final minutes, like give us kind of like a foreshadowing or like a you know what I mean, like what that journey looked
Tell you how
like?
I cured my cancer.
Yeah, but
Can we
I
talk
mean,
about the cure for cancer in 20 minutes?
yeah, that's the I there's obviously I mean sneak peek. This is what I'm asking you for. Yeah, can you give us a sneak peek of what when you're coming back? Obviously, because you are going to be coming back when we can make time in your busy schedule to do that. Um, but yeah, what does that from that where you're like, oh shit, there is, I mean, not necessarily a God, but there something is going on here that's greater than our human
Yeah.
experience, you know, that we normally have. Um,
Absolutely.
what happens in your life over the next, you know, period of time? Like you decide to make the change, and then what does that look like? I guess are the two big questions I have.
And so that was 2018 when that happened. And I really that was the second time that I almost gave up. Like the dark ages were returning. I actually moved back to Tucson temporarily because I wanted to, resolve her affairs and deal with like her ashes and getting her house all sorted out and all of her things. Not that I wanted to, but I had to. And I really, really sank. And I remember there's another magical moment that led me to my own spiritual journey, which then led me into recovery. It was this praying mantis that came to visit me 3 days in a row on my mother's porch.
Huh.
And 3 days in a row, we just sat together. And I just was looking at it and it was looking at me and we were just hanging out on the porch. I took a bunch of pictures of it. And on the third
do
day, I
remember the
looked
picture.
up. I sent you those.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember the pictures. Of praying mantis. Yeah, for sure.
I remember looking that up and the symbolism. I'm all about like, oh, I saw this thing or oh, this number stands out to me. Let me look at
Right.
what that means.
Right.
Because I'm all about the signs and the connections and the universe, whatever, God, the universe, source, spirit, whatever you want to call it. I think you're all right. It said to me in that moment by sending me this praying mantis that I was meant for a journey inward. That the praying mantis was a sign of stillness, of inner peace, and it also often in some cultures, it often represented a calling to a higher purpose self. Um, and then that same night that I was looking that all up, I dropped a bag of my mom's stuff that was like miscellaneous cards and letters and little pamphlets, and out of the bag, all the pamphlet for Mountain Vista Unitarian Universalist Church, which was the church that my mother was going to at the time.
Interesting.
And I know, right? And I was like, "Wow, I'm gonna go to church this weekend and see what happened." So I went to her church and I filled out the little like guest form. And for some reason, I checked off that I wanted to talk to the minister. And the minister called me and he was like, "That's me. I'm the minister. I'm the one you're going to talk to. So come on in." And we made this like hour-long appointment to just kind of sit and chat and do like a standard, "Hey, what led you here? And is there a home for you here?" kind of like conversation. And it ended up being this like 4-hour conversation that we had in the desert.
Oh wow.
I was telling him about my trauma and what led me there. And I told him I was just feeling like there was something bigger that I was supposed to be connected to. I felt like I was being called to come home for some reason. And I didn't know why. And I mean, obviously, with my mom dying was a big reason, but I felt like there was something more, like that I had to be here for some reason. And he was like, "Well, you're speaking a very specific language to me right now." it's very specific things that you're saying. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, well, that you have a calling. And I was like, oh, I have a calling to be a minister. Oh, I'm going to come and be a spiritual leader. Okay, sure. Like that's the most ridiculous thing I'd ever heard in my entire life at that point in time. And it's like, I'm just telling you what you're telling me. Like I'm reflecting back to like what I'm hearing. Well, why don't we do this? Join our pastoral associates team and we'll see where it goes. And I was like, okay, sure. And I ended up going back and doing one more cabaret, one more FML before coming back to Tucson again a little more permanently. And remember talking about this, and I was doing like my whole show, and we're talking about post-traumatic growth and like stories and shit. And I said, like, I almost didn't do this because my mom just died. But all the more reason to actually be doing this.
Right.
And I remember telling people after, right? Like, come on.
I mean, that's the reason
I remember telling people, yeah, it's I remember telling people after, like, kind of hanging out, like this joke that it was to me that like I had this 4-hour conversation in the desert with a minister, told me that I had a calling for ministry, and how ridiculous that was. And I remember all of my friends just being like, "What? Like, why? Why would that be ridiculous? Like, you just ministered to us. Like, maybe it doesn't look the same for everybody, but like, that was something really special that you just did. Why isn't that considered ministry?" And I was like. And so I kind of went with that. And I started actually speaking at my church and giving like whole sermons by myself. I'm a huge leader in my church right now, which is crazy to me. But it really started me thinking that maybe there was a purpose to this path that I had been on, and not that it's like, oh, I was meant to suffer so that I could suffer for all of you. Quite the opposite.
Right.
I was meant to pull my head out of my ass, pull myself out of suffering, walk through that grief, and come out to the other side and say, hey, this does not have to be the end. Like, look at what I've been through. And I defy you to tell me I'm not the most joyful and amazing person you've ever met. I'm so fucking full of joy. But like, it was a long journey. It was a few years of sharing my trauma and working through therapy. And the pandemic was tough.
Yeah.
Like I lost myself after my mom died, and I did a musical and was like, oh, right. I'm a theater person. That's what I do. I perform. And maybe now I have this other weird, like spiritual outlet. Like, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to keep the fight. I'm not going to choose to lay down again. But the second time I chose to fight instead of give up.
Right.
And
well, that's the choice you get. Right. That's the choice. Is that you can let your own mental illness beat you, or you can choose to fight against it and just keep struggling on, right? Like, and I respect that decision. Some people are like, it's enough. I've done enough. I'm done, and I get that. Also, know that you can. It's in your hands. You're not powerless against it. You're the one who's choosing to continue. Yeah.
Which really sucks to hear. When you're in the thick of it,
sure,
but like
fair.
But it is true, but it's hard to hear that. It's hard to, and I would imagine if anyone out there is listening to this and dealing with depression, it's very easy to be like, well, fuck you. Like, you don't know what I'm going through. You know how hard this is for me, how broken I am. Yeah, I do, babe.
I do. Yeah.
I do.
And that's where I was coming from too. Also, like
horribly hard.
Yeah, from myself is that you have the choice. You always have the choice whether or not you want to keep doing it. And if you're choosing to do it, then I just choose to do it. It's not easy. It's not easy.
Find the path. Find the resources. But I'll tell you, since we're really running out of time, I will tell you the magic that really happened most recently. So I, was in and out of Tucson. The pandemic happened. I was back in Chicago for a little bit, trying to like get my life back on track. That's when like the resident artist program was coming together. I was about to get that associate marketing director job for the Chicago Children's Theater. My cabaret was kicking ass and taking names. And then the pandemic shut everybody down. And I was there for maybe a couple months on Stephen Dale's couch. You remember Stephen Dale?
I do.
He's nice enough to let me stay on his couch for like practically nothing, which was amazing. such a wonderful friend. Despite all the chaos and craziness that we got when we first met.
Yeah.
Stephen Dale, what an amazing human being. He'll probably never hear this, but God love you, Stephen Dale. So fucking
I'll
sexy
tag
too.
him personally
Anyway,
in the post.
you should. He's good.
I'm gonna look him up.
You should. He'll be like, "Oh, goody. Hello, Caleb."
Yeah, like, yeah, welcome back.
Yeah.
What do you have
So, so I'm still being crazy and causing calamity.
Yeah.
Listen, chaos is neither good nor evil, man. Chaos just is.
It depends on how you use it.
It depends on how you use it. Chaos is long, but not girthy. So then I'm back in Tucson because I left Stephen Dale's couch and came back to Tucson when they told me that the cancer had spread from my breast into my lungs. We were facing a respiratory pandemic that no one knew anything about, that was an indefinite event. And I now had cancer in my lungs, no jobs, no prospects. All of my grief is resurfacing because now I'm like, oh, great. My cancer that I've been dealing with so well, like holistically, because I turned down everything. I had a couple surgeries and I was doing mostly okay. And they were like, let's just like bathe you in chemo. And I was like, let's not.
Right.
And when my mom died, I stopped taking care of myself. And that's when it started to spread. And like I said, I really feel like there's a connection in the grief because I went deep and it started to spread into my lungs. I had tumors and like soft tissue tumors in my abdomen. I had a tumor in my chest wall. I had a paratracheal tumor and I was stage 4. And I was so sick. My lung was collapsing. I also had asthma and they refused to like test me properly because they were like, oh, it's the cancer. So just take cancer medication, be compliant, be a good little girl and take your medicine. But the cancer was not actually bad enough to cause that collapse. They just kept ignoring it for like a year. And so like the asthma got so bad that it looked like I had COPD, which is what killed my father.
Wow.
And so then they're telling me, just kidding, cancer's not even going to get to kill you because COPD is going to choke you out first.
Jesus Christ.
Right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, these ups and downs, the rise and the fall. I'm fine. I'm dying. I'm fine. I'm dying. It was crazy. And so I finally agreed to start cancer treatment. I was doing monthly injections, which basically put me into medical menopause because my cancer was feeding off of estrogen. And I was an estrogen palace. So they're like, starve this bitch of estrogen and we'll kill the cancer. Wow. And so I started doing the injections and there was like itty bitty, teeny tiny incremental shrinkage of some of the tumors. One of them was getting a little bigger. A couple of them were getting a little smaller. I started doing some inhalers, got my lungs back, started singing again because there were months of time where all I did was cough, lay in bed, and I was like, I was writing my 5 wishes. Like my best friend in Chicago, like we were planning what plug he was prepared to pull. Like we were literally at endgame, and I started to try to engage a little bit where I could in some theater as like the pandemic lifted a little bit out here. I basically spent 3 years indoors and I'm wearing a mask anytime I went to the mailbox or to the doctor. And then started kind of re-engaging in the world a little bit. And this woman at my church, this is where shit gets like crazy. We're going to fast forward and we'll talk about some of these details like next time when we come back. But she called me one day after I shared with the church that some of my like test numbers were going up and things were like looking bad again. And I thought it was okay, but now it's taking another turn for the worst. Pity me, drama, drama, drama. And she calls me and she said, are you ready to be done with this? And I was like, what?
What?
Like, are you done? Like, are you ready to be done with the drama, the sick and the dying and the pity me and all of this? Are you ready to give this up? And I'm just like, yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
Yes. She said, I want you to tell me that your cancer is gone. Tell me what would happen? What happened? And I was like, well, my the oncologist would probably call me. Like, I probably would have just had a scan and they would have called. She's like, okay, what would they say? She walked me through the conversation, and not just like what the doctor said and what I said, but and how did you feel when she said it? Where did you feel it? And I started like really thinking about that and like, oh, I feel it in my heart and my chest, and I felt light, or I felt this and I felt that. And we, for like the next month and a half, without missing a day, I called her every single day and told her that. And told her, you won't believe this amazing news that I just got. I just got a scan, this, that, and the other, went through it all and how I felt. And we were celebrating life. We were looking forward to the future. And we were talking about all the beautiful things in nature and all the joy that was in the world, even though things were hard and painful, and how that all felt. We started talking about controlling our thoughts, controlling the way you think. It is very easy for people to blow it off when you say, you positive. It's not about thinking positive. It's about controlling your thoughts. It's about being in the now, being in the creative wonder of now, and not sitting there in the, well, but if this could happen and then that could happen to me, and oh, and I have this bill to pay, and if I don't pay that, then they're going to do this and they're going to do that. All of that thinking that we're doing is just giving the universe ideas. So instead, we fed the universe new programming. And the new programming was that I am no longer this sick and dying girl who's buried in grief and trauma and dying of stage 4 cancer. Now the story we're telling is I don't even need to waste my time with cancer anymore. We stopped talking about it after a while. Because like, why are we even wasting our time? And I was like, finding jobs teaching kids, finding jobs performing in shows. All of a sudden, I'm in like every show all over the place. I'm teaching theater at a school now, which is crazy. I work with this musical theater company that works with kids with special needs. Like I'm pursuing this passion. I'm pursuing figuring out who I am authentically. And at the same time, I'm doing EMDR with my therapist to kind of go through these older traumas that are stuck and processing them.
A mirror therapy. Is that right?
So it's like when your body experiences trauma, or well, when your body experiences the day, you go to sleep at night, you go through this process, like rapid eye movement. There's like this process where your brain is like, keep this, toss that, don't need it. When trauma happens, a lot of times that process will not occur. And so we get our trauma stuck. And so EMDR is this kind of guided process that you can do with a therapist that helps you go through those traumas in a safe environment and reprocess. And I was doing it with her for, a couple months at the same time that I'm doing this phone call.
You're talking about, I'm sorry, there's a mess in your brain,
EMDR.
And you're putting it in a logical place. So you're letting your brain process the trauma. So it puts it in a place
instead of holding it.
Right. Got it.
And like allowing it to grow and fester like cancer cells do.
Right.
And so we were doing this work January, February. I just got a scan in September. And according to that scan, I am now 100% cancer-free. I am in complete radical remission. And it is radical remission because people do not go from stage 4 to remission overnight the way that I did. Less than 5% of people who hit stage 4 ever see remission of any kind. Not only am I in remission today, it turns out I changed my medical team in February. And when I had my scan done in February, it also showed that I was in remission then, which was right after I started doing the work with Linda and made that decision to let go.
So
this whole time, what? And everybody's been like, well, that makes more sense. You don't look like you're sick and dying. And you're like, well, I'm not. I'm in complete radical remission.
That's Dr. Powerful. On it. That is that's a pretty powerful statement.
Now instead of dying, I got to look forward to paying taxes for the next 50 years.
Well, I mean, that's all of us. Anyway, you also get to do theater and get to
exactly
special needs, continue to do music. That's really awesome. I think we are. Oh yeah, we are at the end of the show. This is just part one, as we know. there's more we have to talk about. So Robin, thank you for being here. It's been a great conversation. We're gonna have more in the future. Jack, great drawing today too, man. Thank you for being here and drawing with us. I had nothing to say. I was just watching you draw and enjoying it. So
yeah, it was awesome.
I actually
reminding me of the old Counts comic.
Thank you very much. I actually have someone to meet at 9:30, so I have to take off right now. But Robin, your story is amazing. All the things you've been through and how you still have a wonderful attitude. It's inspiring. So thank you for sharing all of that. It was radical sharing.
Yeah, radical sharing. Here with Aaron Casfield as well, the professor of comedy. You can find all of our information at coxinspace.com, coxinspace.com, and we will see you guys all later. Bye.
Bye.